This is my third live video today. Very different in character from the previous two. Six years ago, in 2013, I was told something was going to happen. And I wanted to avoid it so much. I was told somebody was going to die. And I wanted to avoid it so much that I used absolutely all of I went very, very, very hard into prayer. I was shown in 2013 I'm trying to figure out a way to say this so I don't cause something. I don't want to screw something up. I was told in 2013 that somebody whose energy I was connected to was going to die very suddenly. And I was shown that it was about a 98% chance that they would. And just being myself, I thought, well, that means that there's a 2% chance they're not going to, and I'm not going to let that happen. And I have a pretty strong history in the church, a pretty strong spiritual network, and I just went whole hog and grabbed all of this energy and said, we're going right through there. And I thought, if there's a 2% doorway, we're going to go through there. And this person didn't die. At the time, I was shown very clearly the effect that this person's death would have on the family. And I thought, well, I'm not going to let that happen. How can that happen? I can't have that happen. I felt the anguish. It was so strong. It was so palpable to me. And I thought, I can't have it. I can't have it. And if there's anything I can do to steer it, I'm going to steer it. And I didn't want to intrude, but I parked up the street from this person's house. I wanted to stay out of sight, but I went into prayer for hours, visualizing that I made a mistake. What I should have done. Now, I know now that the path of least resistance would have been for this person's rapid departure. I was told in 2013 that our energy was connected, and one of the reasons for my own, and I know this is true, one of the reasons for my own illness was because this person was also weak. So much of my energy was going in that direction. Excuse me. So much of my energy was going in that direction. And they said, you have to sever your cord or it's going to kill you. And I couldn't bring myself to do it. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I did the ceremonies, I did the cord cutting, I did all of that cutting, and I just couldn't do it. I went to one of the many people that I went to try and get the cords up, because every single energy healer I went to said, you're attached to this person and it's draining you. And I knew it was, but I don't know how to sever love cords. I just don't. And I couldn't do it. And so it continued the drain, and I continued to allow it because I don't know how to stop that. I haven't seen this person in a long time. But that was really my own will over God's will. And I know that there has been counseling going on in the space meetings that I spoke of. The space meetings, I've been very impatient because I felt things should be progressing faster. You know, twin flame mission, and why don't we have the 5D system going on, and what about the, you know, the circulatory system? And I was very, I wanted other people to be more cooperative. And I have talked a lot about the need to let go. And sometimes what we can't let go of are certain people that we love, and we just don't know how to sever that cord. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I have become aware in the last, I was debating whether to do, I was debating whether to talk about certain things on a live stream or not, because I know I've got this population, there's a certain body of information that needs to come out, and it's important. But some of it was also so personal, I wasn't sure I should say it. And plus, it's also extremely weird. It's also really, really weird. It's not that weird for like twin flames or I knew that my energy has been in a two-way circulatory system with somebody for a long time. And we were so similar in so many ways, like the energetics were such that I very often had difficulty telling us apart. Energetically, like when I look at the energy, I can't tell whose is whose. I've been very aware for a while, especially the last couple, maybe the last 4 months. But particularly, it's like amped up. Recently, the last like maybe the last month, I knew it was happening. I knew it was happening. But recently, it has felt very much like there are literally two people jockeying for space in my body. I mentioned it on a post. I said it feels like there's just like, there's squirming going on. It feels like there's an astral body, like we can't. I was aware that all of the energy that I had been given feeding into keeping this other person alive. You know, I just had this, on my last live stream, like, what, 2 hours ago? I said, you have to leave the Titanic. It's going down. You can't save it. Stop putting your energy into the Titanic. You know, famous last words. But I'm doing it too. And in the space meetings that we've had over the last, like, maybe month especially, it's really been picking up, because this relates to twin flame mission. The twin flame mission is way overdue. There are certain twin flame pairs, a lot of them, who certain things have not been moving forward. Certain twin flame couples were supposed to be on task, needed to be on task. And it's not about, you can't hold on to that anymore, to what you loved of the previous life. I loved it too. They've told me that, and I did know this, that in the space meetings, why were we there? And there have been space meetings every night. And they said, there's been counseling going on between the two of us. It's not me and my twin, it's me and this other person, and my twin and this other person. And there's been counseling going on, helping to detach the people, helping to detach and helping me withdraw. I've had such a difficult time. They said it really is, it has been my energy that has been going out to keep this person buoyant. And they said, you need to pull it all back. You need to take it back. It affects the financial system. It affects your people who haven't had anything. You're going to have to pull it all back. And so I did. I didn't realize that it was going to have the consequence that it did, or that it is going to. I thought we could do both. And it turns out we can't. I was really hoping there was a way to do both. The weird thing is, this is where it gets really weird. It is weird. The only part that's leaving is the physical vessel. But here's the weird part, is that all of the energy, you know what a walk-in is. I've been getting a walk-in. It's been going in both directions. Today, when there was, so I have known this is happening. I have been feeling other people's physical sensations. I've been feeling like, really feeling like there was another person in my body, and they told me it's going to, my guides have said it's going to normalize basically you're bringing yourself back together. There was a division where I had allowed so much of myself to go in the one place where it didn't actually belong for about 6 years. I kept saying, take mine, take mine, take mine, take mine, take mine. And I can't continue to do that. So there has been a divine intervention and a lot of counseling. There's a lot of space counseling too. There's a lot of space counseling. The love doesn't go anywhere. You really need to know that. The love goes nowhere. The love stays. The love magnifies and increases. And for those of us who are saying goodbye to people we love, or we're not going to see them for a long time, or they're leaving our lives for one reason or another, the love remains. You are going to see them again. It's just a hard goodbye. A lot of times the path of least resistance, the easiest path, is dying. Dying is the easiest thing in the world. It's so funny the way that we've been conditioned in a way that's everything's kind of it's totally backwards. Birth has a ton of trauma. With death, there's no trauma at all. Death is the easiest, most ecstatic thing. Ecstatic's probably the wrong word, but it's such a release and such a gift. All the difficulty is felt by those who remain, or who have to go on in a way where it feels alone. So what my guides told me is that I delayed the inevitable. All I did was delay it. But twin flame pairs, the missions are, so the way it relates to twin flames now is that it's not immediately, but it's within a couple of months. Here's what it looks like to me. Now, you should know that I'm off the timeline still. So, and I get so much information from the immediate now moment that it always feels to me like everything is instant. So I don't pencil it in if you have, don't hold me too tightly to my best guesstimate as to the time, because I always think things are going to happen faster than they happen. But from all of the other information that I've kind of triangulated from, I had a session with another person too just now, Kimberly Hall, and we were talking about her twin flame issues also. And because of what she said, I can just triangulate data. I can see if something's happening over here, and something else is happening over here. I can see where everybody is and what it all means. And that tells me what must be happening here, even though I'm not given any information. It can only happen there are only certain ingredients are only ever going to make the one thing. Or variations. like a similar variation on, like if you've got all the ingredients for apple pie, you might be able to make something like apple strudel instead, but you're not going to be able to make chicken curry with these ingredients. It can only make something that is kind of like this. So we're not going to get a totally random, something totally random. Things are, the upshot is things are really speeding up. There's an event that, if it hasn't already taken place, is very imminent. The reason this is happening, there's a small council of about 6 people who are working very hard to, who are overseeing the twin flame grid. It's their job to assist with all of the external circumstances, getting everybody where they're supposed to be. So getting, for lack of a better word, obstacles, but it's not really an obstacle. It's just things. The physical world moves slower than the energetic world. It just does. Energy moves very quickly, and it assembles and reassembles, and stuff comes together, and then it solidifies and it comes down to form. And once it's in form, it's much harder to move it. That's why you can give yourself, when you're in 5, you can imagine yourself into a much healthier body a lot faster than if you than you can by doing exercise. You know, X number of reps in a physical body will give you results at a predictable rate. But you could go up in dimension and imagine yourself nice and lean and have it much faster, because things just work that way. But the more attached you are, the denser you are into physicality, the slower things move. And then detaching, you know, those of us who have been through this process know how hard it is to detach from those we love. And we don't want to let go of them. And we hold on to them as long as we can. So this is, I don't know how this affects anybody. I don't know how this affects everybody else. I can say that for me, I have been in the process. This is weird because I know that most of the time, the walk-in process is real quick. The exchange happens. Usually, it's fairly rapid. But I have been aware that in the space meetings, I remember somebody saying, "Are you ready?" And I know I hate this part. They've been preparing us. Are you sure? Are you ready? Are you sure? Are you ready? And I know that in the physical world, I've been bitching that things were taking so long, but you know, I'm a stubborn player. I didn't want to let go of that. I love who I love, and I don't know how to detach that. And I know I don't actually have to, because love doesn't die. It doesn't die. You can't actually sever those cords. But I've been keeping I've been allowing someone to stay in their comfort zone because I didn't want to disrupt their life, and I didn't want the surrounding circumstances that I know it's going to cause a certain degree of upheaval for people. So I've been getting a walk-in. It's not a walk-in, though. It's me. I'm taking myself back. It's very strange. In 2013, this really is weird. In 2013, I was given a vision of a circle that it was a black circle, and it was made of like stacked Post-it notes. Like if you were to see a Post-it note on a side, like the edgewise, and it was a circle all the way up at the top, and then the top didn't connect. There was like a thin separation, and the circle went. Remember, I was talking about the clock. This barrier was like at where 12 would be. And at the top, one side at the top of this barrier, like here's the barrier, one side at the top, what went into extreme density. Like all the Post-it notes were lined up. It's like increments. That's what it was about. It was about incremental changes. And then when they got up to the one side, they got very dark and extremely condensed, packed, really packed. And then on the other side, right before it met, it didn't meet because there was a barrier. The Post-it notes shot off and they got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And they went off into something that looked like space. And I didn't know what that meant. And then I realized that it meant it was polarities. Like I could tell it was polarities. But then I couldn't figure out, and I kind of knew that one was me, the one that shot off into space, they were both me. Like I got that. They were both me. But then I also felt that one was this other person. And I was looking to see where was the division, and I couldn't find it. There was no division. There was a division at the top, well, like it didn't re-meet, but there was no division at the bottom. There was a separation at the top with polarities. And remember when I said the polarities didn't touch? You can be service to others and service to self. The curriculum is the same. You can have one being that puts themselves into two bodies and loves them equally. And that's what we did. We had one being, and it's kind of like if I'm the one soul, and it's like putting two fingers, having two fingers in being embodied in two fingers. And you just go, it's very easy to do. It's like putting two fingers in milk. They appear to be separate, but they're not really. And that's what we did. And basically, we did that for a reason. We needed to get a certain something accomplished. But they told me now that it's time to, any energetic exchange, I had to pull back all of the energy. Same thing I did with the financial system. I just did that live stream, like just a short while ago, where I said, I'm not putting any more of my energy into a dying system. And I'm not contributing to that anymore. Oh, I got off that call, and then I had a session with Kimberly Hall, and I know what her name means. I know what I know what energy she contains, and her session confirmed it. It confirmed what and it gave me certain other piece of information, and now I know what's going on. We're in a very rapid transition. There's going to be a lot of kind of hustle and bustle surrounding living situations, moving. There's probably going to be a certain degree of moving. The council that's in charge of the twin flame grid is assisting with departures of karmic partners. Karmic partners, I don't like that word. I use it because everyone knows what it kind of knows what it means, or it's easily identifiable, but don't make this person your enemy. Make sure that you, I almost said view them with compassion, but even that, sometimes the word compassion can seem like you're, being somewhat condescending. Be careful with the way you handle, if your twin is attached to somebody, that means you're attached to them too. And they are your ally. I mean, for real. I'm not just saying reframe the enemy so you can get a better result. That's not it. This person is actually your ally. There are agreements that souls make before they go down so that everyone gets the optimal learning, so that love is maximized, so that everyone is agreeing to help lift the planet. And all of these jobs are required. Movement is, this time right now, it has a feeling like it feels like the night before an army moves out. It feels like mass migration, and it feels like tomorrow. That's what it feels like. It feels like the night before you leave. Certain ties have been severed. That's the message of this. Certain ties have been severed. And there's no going back. There is going forward. And everything that was based in love, everything, I really want you to hear this part. Everything that you had that was the essence of love, we can have that too. We can still have that. You're not losing. You may lose a form, a particular form, but you're not necessarily losing the essential nature of something. You're going to have that. It's just going to be in a different place. You're still safe. You're still held. You're still loved. You still have a family. You're not losing family. You may be losing the family didn't understand you completely. A certain form of family may leave, but that doesn't mean that there's not another one right here who is your vibrational match. That's real. And we're all going together. There is a period of isolation in the middle where it feels very scary. It can feel very wobbly. But you're held and you're loved. We're all here. We're all here. It's okay. We all cry together. We all love together too. We're all partners in the shift. A lot of us are losing parents at this time. I've just noticed that there seems to be there's a commonality that I'm watching certain things happen. Old attachments to what you thought you had to make you feel safe. That's what's leaving. It's the old version of security from when we were spiritual children. Spiritual maturity opens up new, it's more responsibility. But the gifts are greater there too. The gifts are greater there. It's actually a lot less struggle. It's less naive. I mean, that's one of the things, like, we're not going to get the naivety back. Because once you're awake, you're awake. We're not going to go back to sleep. Sometimes we want to, but it's a different kind of rest. There's a lot more light. There's a lot more joy. You're still going to have a family. It's going to feel a lot freer. You're going to be supported. That's the thing that I really want to say, is that there's, from this time forward, there's going to be very rapid movement. The financial system is going to pick up very rapidly, very rapidly. You're going to be well supported. The love is such in a loving platform system that isn't based in having just one of anything. It's inherently giving. So you don't need to worry that no one's going to have your back. You're not going to die alone in a gutter. There will be homes. There will be work. But it will be joyful, creative work. Joyful, creative enterprise. So today was a big shift that I didn't expect. I was like, I've been waiting for, it's like I knew something was coming. And I have been feeling this walk-in, like I really have. I haven't talked about it on live streams, but man, I made notes about it. It's been weird. It's been really weird. Like I have felt things in my physical body that like, that's not mine. Like something is happening and who else is in here? It has really felt like not even just being connected to somebody else, because I'm certainly familiar with that. I'm connected to enough people. And usually I can tell who it's coming from. But, and it's different from being pregnant, because being pregnant is also having another person in your body. And that has a particular sensation too. And I love that, love being pregnant. But this was weirder. This what felt like, it has felt for several years like two babies were passing in the birth canal, and I was also the birth canal. I'm like both babies, but also the birth canal. It was really, really, really strange. But just recently, the physical sensations, I won't get too graphic, the physical sensations in my body were like, am I being molested by a ghost right now? Like somebody is, what's, enough said. It has felt really weird. And then I was told just the last couple of nights that they have been testing the circuitry. I've known for a while they were testing the circuitry with all of you, and they were testing the circuitry with all of the different dimensions. They're recoalescing all of my parts that had scattered or I had allowed out. They're pulling them back in, helping me pull them back in, put it that way. That's better. And then the last one. Was someone that I just loved and I didn't want to say no to. So sometimes they will, like, I see what they did there. It's like, my guys, they know me, and they know all parties. They're like, how are we going to get them to do that? Your guide's job, your spirit guide's job is not to ever to keep you in your comfort zone. It's how do we get them to do what they came here to do? So sometimes, very often, what they do with me, because I go into resistance and I want what I want. And I'm wily. And I like strategy. I love strategy. I love figuring out a way to do something. Like there's a little gap, like I see this thing and I wonder if I can just get through this margin so this person doesn't die. I want to see if I can save this person's life. Okay, that was my own will. The path of least resistance would have been fast departure, and it would have been a better outcome. I was willful. I didn't know everything I should have known. However, so back we are to basically the same place we were 6 years ago when this situation first came about. And older, wiser, and fatter, back in the same location, in the same situation. Anyway. So now we proceed. And matters will get better very quickly. Like I do know that too. We're going to have a couple, as I see it, the probabilities lining up right now, we're going to have a couple of months of transition of circumstances that are more kind of like hustle and bustle. It looks a little bit like moving. It looks a little bit like situational arrangements, circumstances that just need to be adjusted, that are not really between the twins. This is happening in more than one place. So that's why I'm telling you, because it looks like it's happening in a lot of places. So if you're a twin and you're listening to this and you're like, what's holding up union? Whether he's stuck with his karmic or whatever, because I hear these kinds of remarks. He's stuck with his karmic. Do you hear the enemy talk in that? Freedom, when you love someone, you want them to have what they want for themselves. So if your twin wants to be married to his karmic, let him have it, you know? Unless he's ready to leave, then he needs to be there. And vice versa, or whatever the situation is. It feels as though it's going to be a hard, abrupt loss for a lot of people. I'm seeing, the way I'm feeling the energy is that I'm looking at a specific population who, God, this is a weird thing to say, but the way it feels to me, it reminds me of like gobstopper energy. There's like hard and layered. You know, remember Gobstopper? Where this is such a me analogy. It's like candy. But it's like a gobstopper. A gobstopper is like, it's like a gumball, but it's hard and layered, and every layer has another layer of hardness. certain things are like calcified and dense and need to be ameliorated toward flow. But density of this kind, you want to dissolve. Like, I've just dealt with certain people in these positions. And one of them, it took me 6 years to even move her a town, because movement, flow doesn't happen. You've got, sometimes something's going to have to be smashed. It's like the asphalt. Something's going to have to be smashed and you're going to have to move it. You're going to have to bust it. We cannot afford to wait any longer. So yes, I do understand that I'm talking about myself, because I was holding on to this person too. I was. That doesn't mean they're gone forever. I do know what it, so I will tell you, if you are this person, if you happen to be listening, see if you can remember your dreams, and maybe I'll see you in the space meeting. I love you so much. I love all of you, and all will be well. There's a period of time when you first go into the experience of separation where, man, it feels like abject terror. And that can happen. So, but that doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that the separation is real. Separation doesn't happen. Not actually. You just have that experience. The experience is real. That part can really suck. So, but here's the thing. I want you to remember this. No matter what experience you're going through, everybody's going to come home. I want you to really know that part. Everyone's going to come home. And here's the thing. The fun thing is that the system that we're building now, establishing the architecture for the prolific circulation of joy, is going to be more well established and more comfortable. Remember we talked about the ladder? You're going to be able to get up the ladder too. We're not leaving anybody. And we're always connected. And you can always come home. So you're going to go off and have an adventure. And it's going to be okay. And no matter what the outside circumstance is, the apparent circumstance, if you are this person or these people, you can call me. I'm always here for you. We're going to establish the architecture for the prolific circulation of joy, as Sarah Adams puts it. And all will be well. It requires a bit of adjustment. It's going to be okay. The worst part is over. I will tell you that. The worst part is over. The worst part is over for those who are, let me rephrase that. The worst part is over for those of us who are going up. For those who are still committed to 3, the Titanic's still sinking, kid. For those people who are determined to hold on to the sinking ship, good luck. But help is always around. You need to know that help is always around. Nobody's being abandoned. It just really seems that way. So we'll go up, and we're going to get rid of some illusions, the realm of illusion. If that's the realm that you like, you can keep it. It's so weird though, because there really are people who prefer that. For real, there really are. I mean, that's one reason why I said one time, why wouldn't anybody prefer? Well, who would choose to live in a ghetto? And actually, I have met people, even people I loved so greatly, who were just so at home in a world of strife, and they didn't even know this about themselves. And that's what's so funny. Like, my father was one of them. I adored my father. I mean, I adored my father. But he just liked the world that he liked. And it was one where women were less. And he wouldn't say that. Like, if you said you're a misogynist, he would say, no. But yeah, he wouldn't say that. But there are certain people who have belief systems that are so rigid that they just prefer strife or conflict or hierarchy. Hierarchy is a big one. My father was really into hierarchy. Which leads to the ghetto. He wasn't an unkind person at all. Still, there is a more fluid way to work. There is. There are people I actually have known a lot of people like this, whose preferred realm is actually hardship. And the way you know is because if you ever transfer them, one of the ways you know, because you could just look at their energy and say, oh, you're one of the people who prefers hardship. I actually know a lot of people like this. And the funny thing is, they don't normally know that about themselves. Like, I worked with one person who had such an aversion to, she said she wanted love, like she really thought she wanted love all the time. But she had such an aversion to it that she was love shy. She automatically, the thing that I would watch happen to her energy, I mean, so reliably, the instant anything good would happen, she would bat it away and complain about how she wasn't loved. Well, love just came. I mean, you're surrounded by love, but every time something good happens, you're jaded, you're questioning it, you're denying it, and you don't know how to accept it. You don't know how to relax into it and have it be okay. A lot of, I was starting to say, the way you usually can tell that another way, apart from energetic, is that if you take somebody, like who has only ever been around, an abusive situation, or they've grown up in the projects or something like that, and you suddenly plop them into a new ideal situation, or something you would consider ideal, where they suddenly have everything they said they wanted. They're actually not happier. What feels like home to somebody like that is where they came from. So they tend to create what they had already, create backwards. So for someone like that, the path of least resistance forward is very often going to be death. My father died because he was in it. The path of least resistance for him was death, and trying to save someone's life and prolong it and preserve it is it's more about possession and less about love. Love is release. I wasn't really completely aware of what was going on when I dove in to save this person's life. I was very aware of I was told in 2013, shown very clearly the effect it was going to have on the family, particularly the effect it was going to have on the children. And it looked to me like genocide, and it was terrifying. So, I mean, I'm not completely sorry that I did it. What I did was turn the wheel backwards. Instead of, whatever, I turned it so that the experience, instead of having the one person go through an experience, I took it on myself. And as a result, I lost everything. It didn't have to go quite as bad for me as I made it by trying to hang on to somebody that I needed to let go. So live and learn. All right. Pressing on. It's going to change real fast from here. And that's really all I wanted to say about that. This is my third live stream today, but the first one was only 2 hours, and the second one, I don't know how long that one was. And this one, I don't know. I just had to cry and tell you all a message. But so everything already is flowing. You see how it works? We're transmuting it real quick. And the live streams are getting shorter, so it's getting more condensed. It's all gonna work out. That's the thing that I really wanted to say. It's okay. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna fix it. It's okay. I love you all. I really do. I really do. I really do. I love you all so much. I'm not even just saying that. It seems like a catchy end phrase, but it ain't. It's real. Bye. I love you.